Go ahead and do another homework problem with you. So this is number 15. So first things first, it's an equation. That means we're solving. So we need to get one side of the equation equal to 0. Now there are a lot of numbers here, but I can tell there's 2x cubed on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2x cubed from both sides. And that's actually going to cancel out those terms. They're going to go away. Next, I'll go ahead and deal with the x squareds. Since this has the biggest coefficient, I'm going to subtract just x squared so I can keep the x squareds positive. So that'll give me a 4x squared. And then I'll do the x's. So since I moved the x squared over, I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. That'll give me negative 2x. And then likewise, I'll subtract 6 from both sides. And I'll end up with a positive 1. Because this will cancel. Okay, so this all equals 0. I cleaned that up pretty quickly. Now remember, we always want to try to factor first. So if you see 3 terms, you always multiply your first number by your last. So 4 times 1 is 4. Factors of 4 are 1 and 4, and 2 and 2. Now we want this to add up to negative 2. Now if it's a positive 4, that means the signs have to be the same, since this is a positive. So that means everything has to be negative for this to be add up to negative 2. Well, negative 1 plus negative 4 gives me negative 5. Negative 2 plus negative 2 gives me negative 4. So none of these actually work, which tells me that this does not factor. Okay. Now, if you're left with 3 terms, that is a quadratic. Quadratic just means your highest exponent is a 2. Then we have to solve this by using the quadratic formula. So non-factorable quadratics you solve by using the quadratic formula. So that's x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac, all that's over 2a. Okay. So our a is going to be the 4. The b is going to be this negative 2, and the c is going to be the 1. Let me get rid of that highlighter so don't get confused. So a is 4, b is the negative 2, c is the 1. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. So we'd have, well, b is already negative, so this is going to be a positive 2, plus or minus. And then b squared, so I'm taking negative 2 and I'm squaring it. And then I'm subtracting that from 4 times, we're multiplying by our a, so 4, and our c, which is c, is 1. Oops. There we go. So I accidentally extend it out more. Okay, remember all of that is over 2 times 4. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify that. So that's 2 plus or minus. I'm going to figure out what's in this parentheses, or not the parentheses, under the square root. So this would be a positive 4 minus 16. That's negative 12 inside. 2 times 4 is 8. Now for your homework, I want you guys to at least simplify the negative. Don't keep the negative in the square root. Make sure you write it as an imaginary number. And you just do so by putting an I right in front of the square root after the plus or minus. And you keep the 12 inside. Okay, so on your homework, that's okay, an okay answer. However, I want to go over, for those who are interested, how to actually simplify that even more. So technically that's not the best answer, and that's because the square root of 12 can simplify even more. So square root of 12, in fact, I'm going to move this down. There we go. So square root of 12, you can simplify more by using a factor tree. So 12 is the same thing as 4 times 3. Now, I personally look at it and I say, oh, 4 is a perfect square. I can take the square root of 4 and I get 2. So I'd have a 2 on the outside. And then 3 is not a perfect square, so it stays in. And 3 doesn't go down anymore. Some people keep going down, so 4, they'd say, goes to 2 times 2. So another way you can think of it is there's a pair of 2's, there's 2 of them. So I pull one of them out, and then the other one just kind of disappears. And that's because it's a perfect square. So you'd still have the 3 because the 3 doesn't have a pair. The 3 is stuck in what I call singles prison. Okay, so this simplifies down to 2 square root of 3. Therefore, this whole equation ends up being 2 plus or minus 2i, so here's put the 2 in front of the I, square root of 3. All of that's over 8. Now, there's a common factor of 2, so both of these numbers or terms are divisible by 2, so I can pull out a 2, and you get 1 plus or minus I square root of 3, and it's still divided by 8. Now that means the denominator and the numerator have a common factor of 2 as well, so you can divide the numerator and denominator by 2. So on the numerator, you just have 1 plus or minus I squared of 3. And the denominator, if you divide by 2, you get 4. So this is actually the simplified answer for the same problem.